First contact and cultural exchange. The vast expanse of space had always beckoned humanity, a siren call that whispered of endless possibilities and untold wonders. It was on a crisp autumn morning in 2157 that humanity's wildest dreams and deepest fears were realized simultaneously. The skies above every major city on Earth crackled with energy as massive ships appeared, their sleek designs unlike anything humans had ever conceived. Fear gripped the planet for several tense hours until the aliens broadcast their message: "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Zarkonian Confederation, and we come in peace." What followed was a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and technological sharing that left humanity's heads spinning. The Zarkonians, a highly advanced species with a confederation of over 50 alien races, had been observing Earth for centuries. They had waited until humanity had achieved a certain level of technological and societal advancement before making contact. Dr. Samantha Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, found herself at the forefront of these interactions. Her expertise in theoretical alien biology made her an invaluable asset in understanding the physiology of the various species within the Zarkonian Confederation. "Their biology is fascinating," Samantha explained to a rapt audience of scientists and world leaders. "The Zarkonians themselves have a tri-chambered heart and can process oxygen much more efficiently than humans. Some of the other species in their confederation are even more diverse: beings that can photosynthesize, creatures that communicate through bioluminescence, and even silicon-based life forms." As the initial shock of first contact wore off, humanity began to realize the immense opportunities that lay before them. The Zarkonians offered to share some of their advanced technology, particularly in the fields of medicine and clean energy. In return, they seemed intensely curious about human culture, especially our arts and sports. Sarlox, the Zarkonian ambassador to Earth, was particularly intrigued by the concept of competitive sports. "In our confederation," he explained through his translator, "physical activities are purely for health and enjoyment. The idea of competing against others in feats of strength and skill is novel." This fascination led to an unprecedented proposal: a galactic sporting event modeled after Earth's Olympic Games, but on a scale never before imagined. The event would bring together athletes from Earth and the various species of the Zarkonian Confederation. "It will be a celebration of diversity and unity," Sarlox announced. "A way for our civilizations to come together in the spirit of friendly competition." The announcement was met with excitement and trepidation in equal measure. Humanity, still adjusting to its place in a much larger galactic community, saw this as an opportunity to prove itself on the cosmic stage. Jake Torres, a decorated Olympic swimmer, found himself thrust into the spotlight as one of Earth's representatives for the upcoming Games. "It's intimidating," he admitted in an interview. "We're going up against beings with abilities we can barely comprehend. But that's what makes it exciting. We've always pushed ourselves to break new boundaries, and now those boundaries extend beyond our planet." As preparations for the Galactic Olympics began, it became clear that this would be no ordinary sporting event. The Zarkonians proposed hosting the Games on a massive space station they would construct in Earth's orbit. This neutral ground would provide a variety of environments suitable for different species, from aquatic arenas to zero-gravity fields. The construction of the space station became a joint human-alien endeavor. It was a crash course in interstellar engineering for humanity, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. The station, christened Olympus, grew in Earth's orbit, a shining beacon of cooperation visible from the planet's surface. However, as the Games drew nearer, not everyone shared the optimism of the Olympic Committee. General Marcus Blackwood, a hardened veteran and head of Earth's newly formed extraterrestrial defense force, voiced his concerns. "We're exposing ourselves," he warned in a closed-door meeting with world leaders. "Showing these aliens our strengths and weaknesses. How do we know this isn't some elaborate ruse to study us before an invasion?" His warnings were noted, but largely dismissed. The goodwill generated by the Zarkonians' peaceful approach and technological gifts had created a wave of optimism that was hard to resist. As the day of the opening ceremony approached, athletes from Earth underwent rigorous training and adaptation programs. They had to prepare not just for alien competitors, but for the challenges of competing in environments vastly different from what they were accustomed to on Earth. Dr. Chen worked tirelessly with the human athletes, helping them understand the physiological differences they would face. It's not just about physical training, she explained. It's about mental adaptation. You'll be facing beings with senses and abilities that might seem like superpowers to us. But remember, in many ways, they'll find you just as alien and impressive. The night before the opening ceremony, as Earth buzzed with anticipation, Jake Torres stood at a viewing port on the Olympus station, gazing down at the blue marble that was his home. It's funny, he mused to his teammate, Sarah Okonkwo, a sprinter from Nigeria. A few months ago, I thought winning gold for my country was the pinnacle. Now we're carrying the hopes of our entire species. Sarah nodded, her eyes reflecting the starfield beyond. It's a big responsibility, but also an incredible honor. Whatever happens in these games, we're making history. As they talked, neither of them noticed the subtle shift in the demeanor of some of the alien athletes passing by. The looks of curiosity had been replaced by something else, a mixture of disdain and anticipation. Unbeknownst to the humans, some of the alien species had been less than impressed by what they'd seen of human physical capabilities. Whispers spread through the alien quarters of the station. These humans are so frail, one being said to another in a language no human could understand. Their sports are primitive, their bodies weak. These games will prove once and for all that they don't belong among the stars. As the athletes retired for the night, the stage was set for a competition that will exceed anyone's expectations. The Galactic Olympics were about to begin, and with them, a test of humanity's place in the cosmos. Little did anyone know, these games would become far more than a friendly competition. They would become a crucible in which the true metal of humanity would be tested, forged, and ultimately proven in ways that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The Galactic Olympics begin, a test of human spirit. As the artificial dawn broke over the Olympus station, casting a golden glow across its gleaming surfaces, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy gathered in the vast central arena, a marvel of engineering that could adapt its environment to suit any competition. The opening ceremony was a spectacle unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Holographic displays painted the history of each participating species across the sky, while gravity-defying performers from a dozen worlds danced in perfect harmony. Earth's delegation, led by Jake Torres and Sarah Okonkwo, entered to thunderous applause, not just from the human spectators, but from many aliens who had grown fond of humanity's underdog spirit. However, as the ceremony progressed, a subtle undercurrent of tension began to build. The Zarkonian announcer, Sarlox, took center stage, his melodious voice echoing through the station. "Welcome, beings of the galaxy, to the first ever Galactic Olympics," he proclaimed. "As is tradition in many of our cultures, let us begin with a friendly wager to spice up our competition." A murmur ran through the crowd. This hadn't been part of the official program. Sarlox continued, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that hadn't been there before. "We propose a simple bet. The species that accumulates the most victories across all events will be granted a significant prize: the right to colonize a newly discovered, resource-rich planet in the Andromeda Galaxy." The human delegates exchanged worried glances. This was far more than they had bargained for. Dr. Samantha Chen, seated in the VIP box, leaned over to General Blackwood. "This wasn't in any of our negotiations. Something's not right." Blackwood nodded grimly. "I warned them. This whole thing stinks of a setup." Before the human representatives could voice any objections, the other alien species had already begun to shout their agreement. The competitive spirit that had been merely simmering before now boiled over into a frenzy. As the opening ceremony concluded and the first events began, it quickly became apparent that humanity was at a severe disadvantage. The physical capabilities of some alien species were beyond anything humans could hope to match. In the aquatic arena, Jake Torres dove into the pool for the 1,000-meter freestyle, only to find himself competing against beings that seemed more fish than humanoid. Their streamlined bodies cut through the water at impossible speeds. Jake pushed himself harder than he ever had before, his muscles screaming in protest. As he touched the wall at the finish, gasping for air, he looked up at the scoreboard. He had come in last, but only by a few seconds, a feat that drew astonished looks from the alien spectators. Meanwhile, in the athletics arena, Sarah Okonkwo prepared for the 100-meter dash. Her alien competitors included a being made of living lightning and another with legs like springs. As the starting gun fired, Sarah exploded from the blocks, running the race of her life. She finished third, a bronze medal that felt like gold given the competition. As the first day of events unfolded, a pattern began to emerge. While the humans were outclassed in terms of raw physical ability, they showed a tenacity and adaptability that caught many off guard. They might not have been winning gold, but they were consistently performing better than anyone had expected. In the weightlifting event, a human named Miguel Cortez shocked everyone by outlasting several aliens with 4 arms or enhanced musculature. His technique and determination allowed him to keep pace far longer than should have been possible. The alien spectators watched with growing fascination. They had expected the humans to be easy prey, but instead found themselves grudgingly impressed by their spirit. As night fell on the Olympus station, the human athletes gathered in their quarters, exhausted but oddly exhilarated. Did you see the look on that Zorgan's face when you almost beat him in the high jump? Sarah said to her roommate, a gymnast named Yuki Tanaka. Yuki grinned, despite the ice packs strapped to her legs. I thought those extra joints of his were going to tie themselves in knots from shock. Their good humor was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Chen and General Blackwood. The expressions on their faces quickly sobered the room. We've got a problem, Blackwood said without preamble. We've intercepted some communications between the alien delegations. This isn't just a sporting event to them. They're treating it like a proxy war. A heavy silence fell over the room. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her face grim but determined. The good news is, you've all performed far better than they expected. You've rattled them. But tomorrow, they're going to step up their game. We need to be prepared. Jake stood up, wincing slightly from his exertions in the pool. What can we do? We're already pushing ourselves to the limit. Dr. Chen's eyes gleamed with a mixture of worry and excitement. We're going to have to get creative, very creative. As the meeting continued into the night, none of the humans noticed the small, insect-like drone hovering outside their window, its visual and audio sensors recording everything. In another part of the station, Sarlocks reviewed the footage with a group of alien leaders. His expression was no longer the benign mask of friendship he had worn for months. Now, it was cold and calculating. The humans are more resourceful than we anticipated, he said, but it changes nothing. Tomorrow, we crush their spirit, and then we take their world. As the aliens plotted and the humans strategized, the Olympus station continued its silent orbit around Earth. The planet below remained blissfully unaware that its fate now hung in the balance, to be decided not by diplomacy or warfare, but by the outcome of these deadly serious games. The stage was set for a day of competition that would determine the future of humanity. As the athletes drifted off into uneasy sleep, the question remained: could human ingenuity and spirit triumph over the overwhelming physical advantages of their alien competitors? The answer would shake the foundations of the galaxy. Humanity's hidden talents, the cosmic underdogs strike back. As the second day of the Galactic Olympics dawned, the atmosphere on the Olympus station crackled with tension. News of the high-stakes wager had spread, and Earth's citizens watched with bated breath as their athletes prepared to face seemingly insurmountable odds. But humanity had an ace up its sleeve, or rather several. The day began with an announcement that sent shockwaves through the alien delegations. Dr. Samantha Chen stepped onto the main stage, her voice steady as she addressed the gathered species. In the spirit of fair play and full disclosure, she began, Earth would like to introduce a few additional events to showcase the unique abilities of all participating species. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. This was unprecedented. Dr. Chen continued, a sly smile playing at the corners of her mouth. We propose the inclusion of problem-solving competitions, team-based challenges, and adaptive sports that test mental agility as well as physical prowess. The alien delegations huddled in frantic discussion. They had not anticipated this move, but with the eyes of the galaxy upon them, they could hardly refuse without losing face. Sarlocks, caught off guard but quick to adapt, stepped forward with a forced smile. We accept these additions. Let the expanded games begin. What followed was a day of competition unlike anything the universe had ever witnessed. The first new event was dubbed quantum puzzle solving. Competitors were presented with complex, multi-dimensional puzzles that required not just intelligence, but creative thinking and the ability to perceive reality from multiple angles simultaneously. To everyone's shock, a human team led by Dr. Chen's protégé, a young prodigy named Zara Patel, blazed through the challenges. Their ability to think outside the box and collaborate effectively left their alien competitors in awe. How? Sputtered a bewildered Zarcomian observer. Their brains are so simple compared to ours. Dr. Chen, overhearing, simply smiled. Sometimes, limitations breed innovation. The next event was the adaptive obstacle course. This challenge required participants to navigate a constantly shifting landscape, with obstacles that changed based on the unique physiology of each competitor. Jake Torres, who had struggled in the traditional swimming event, now found himself in his element. His human adaptability allowed him to quickly adjust to each new challenge, while his alien competitors often found themselves stymied by obstacles that didn't play to their specific strengths. As Jake crossed the finish line, edging out a Zorgon competitor by mere seconds, the human section of the crowd erupted in cheers. It was their first gold medal of the Games. But the most stunning upset came in the empathy endurance event. Competitors were required to psychically connect with beings from vastly different species and maintain harmony for as long as possible. Sarah Okonkwo, who had been an underdog in the sprinting event, discovered she had an extraordinary talent for this challenge. Her ability to understand and connect with alien minds was unparalleled. It's like, they're all just people, you know. Sarah explained afterwards, her eyes shining with emotion. Different shapes, different biologies, but inside, were not so different. Her performance not only won another gold for humanity, but also moved many alien spectators to tears, a reaction that confused and alarmed their leaders. As the day progressed, humanity's medal count began to climb. They weren't dominating the competition, but they were holding their own, a feat that had seemed impossible just a day before. The alien delegations were visibly shaken. This was not going according to plan. In a secluded chamber, Sarlocks conferred with the other alien leaders. Gone was his diplomatic demeanor, replaced by cold fury. "This changes nothing," he hissed. "We stick to the plan. Tomorrow, we unveil our secret weapons. The humans have had their moment of glory. It ends now." But the humans weren't resting on their laurels. In their quarters, the Earth team was hard at work, led by the unlikely duo of Dr. Chen and General Blackwood. "We fought ourselves some time," Blackwood said, his military mind already strategizing the next move. "But they'll be ready for us tomorrow. We need something they can't possibly prepare for." Dr. Chen nodded, her eyes gleaming with an idea. "I think I know just the thing. It's risky, untested, but it might be our only shot." As she outlined her plan, the athlete's eyes widened. It was audacious, potentially dangerous, and utterly, uniquely human. Meanwhile, in the station's bustling common areas, something unexpected was happening. Alien athletes, impressed by the humans' performance and touched by their empathy, were beginning to mingle with the Earth team. Cultural barriers that had seemed insurmountable began to crumble as they swapped stories, shared jokes, and found common ground. A Zorgan athlete, towering over Jake Torres, clapped him on the back with one of its 4 arms. "You swim well. For someone with such inefficient limbs," it said, in what Jake realized was an attempt at a compliment. Jake laughed. "Thanks. Maybe you can give me some pointers. And hey, I could teach you some human card games. Ever heard of poker?" As night fell on the Olympus station, there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The games had become more than a competition. They were turning into a true cultural exchange, bridging gaps between species that had seemed unbridgeable. But as the athletes forged new bonds, the powers that be plotted in the shadows. Tomorrow would be the final day of competition, with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. As the lights dimmed in the human quarters, Dr. Chen looked out at the star-filled sky, Earth a beautiful blue marble in the distance. "Get some rest," she told the team. "Tomorrow, we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." Little did anyone know, the greatest challenges and the most astonishing revelations were yet to come. The final day of the Galactic Olympics promised to be one that would be remembered for eons to come, not just on Earth, but across the entire cosmos. The Quantum Gambit, humanity's impossible victory. The final day of the Galactic Olympics dawned with an air of electric anticipation. The Olympus station hummed with activity as beings from across the cosmos prepared for the climactic events that would decide the fate of Earth and humanity's place in the galactic community. As the human team gathered for their final briefing, Dr. Samantha Chen unveiled their secret weapon, a groundbreaking technology that pushed the boundaries of science and ethics alike. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice trembling with excitement and trepidation, "I present to you the Quantum Entanglement Enhancer, or HFY." The room fell silent as Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing a sleek, wristband-like device. "This device," she continued, "taps into the quantum field that connects all matter in the universe. It allows the wearer to harmonize their biorhythms with the fundamental frequencies of reality itself." General Blackwood stepped forward, his face etched with concern. "It's experimental technology, untested in competition. The risks are significant." Jake Torres, the swimmer who had defied expectations throughout the games, stood up. "What kind of risks are we talking about?" Dr. Chen's expression turned grave. "Temporal displacement, molecular destabilization, cognitive fragmentation. In layman's terms, you could be scattered across time and space." A heavy silence fell over the room. The stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. Sarah Okonkwo, the sprinter-turned-empathy champion, broke the silence. "If it means saving Earth, I'm in. We didn't come this far to back down now." One by one, the human athletes nodded their agreement. The fate of their species hung in the balance, and they were willing to risk everything. As the final events began, the alien spectators were treated to a display of athletic prowess that defied explanation. Human competitors moved with impossible grace, their reactions faster than should be physically possible. In the zero-gravity handball arena, Jake Torres seemed to bend the laws of physics, making passes and shots that left even the most experienced alien players baffled. "It's like he's predicting where the ball will be before it's even thrown," exclaimed a bewildered Zarkonian commentator. But it was in the new event, Cosmic Parkour, that humanity truly shone. Competitors had to navigate a constantly shifting landscape that spanned multiple dimensions, requiring not just physical agility, but an intuitive understanding of space-time itself. Sarah Okonkwo, wearing the HFY device, moved through the course like a quantum ghost. She phased through solid objects, seemed to be in multiple places at once, and finished the course in a time that the alien judges initially refused to believe. As humanity's medal count soared, whispers of cheating and impossible began to circulate among the alien delegations. Sarlocks, his carefully laid plans crumbling around him, demanded an immediate investigation. But even as officials began to examine the human team's equipment, a new crisis erupted. The QEE devices, pushed beyond their limits, began to malfunction spectacularly. Jake Torres, in the middle of the final swimming event, suddenly vanished from the pool, only to reappear in the spectator stands, dripping wet and confused. Sarah Okonkwo, accepting her gold medal for cosmic parkour, flickered in and out of existence, her form becoming transparent and then solid again in rapid succession. Panic spread through the station as the fabric of reality itself seemed to warp around the human athletes. The alien spectators, who had come expecting a simple sporting event, found themselves witnesses to what appeared to be the unraveling of the cosmos. Dr. Chen rushed to the central arena, her voice booming over the station's speakers. Everyone remain calm. What you're seeing is simply a localized quantum flux. It's completely harmless. Probably. But even as she spoke, the chaos spread. The QEE devices, now completely out of control, began affecting non-human athletes and spectators. A Zorgon weightlifter found himself suddenly weightless, floating towards the ceiling. A Zarkonian diplomat phased through her seat, ending up one deck below. In the midst of the pandemonium, something remarkable happened. Aliens and humans alike, faced with a crisis that threatened them all equally, began to work together. Jake Torres, having finally reappeared in the correct time and place, found himself helping a disoriented Zarkonian navigate the suddenly fluid laws of physics. Sarah Okonkwo, her form still flickering, joined minds with a group of telepathic aliens to try and stabilize the quantum field. As the crisis peaked, with reality itself seeming to hang by a thread, Dr. Chen made a desperate gamble. She activated the station's main power core, using it to amplify the QEE's effect across the entire structure. For a heart-stopping moment, the Olympus station vanished entirely from Earth's orbit. Billions of humans on the planet below watched in horror as their link to the galactic community simply winked out of existence. And then, as suddenly as it had disappeared, the station reappeared, but it was changed. The once sterile, utilitarian structure now pulsed with an inner light. Organic-looking protrusions had sprouted from its surface, and a faint, shimmering field surrounded it. Inside, humans and aliens picked themselves up, dusting off the remnants of multiple realities. As they looked around in wonder, they realized that something fundamental had shifted. The boundaries between species, once so rigid and defining, had blurred. Humans found they could understand alien languages without translators. Aliens discovered they could tap into abilities they had previously only envied in other species. As the dust settled and the crisis passed, it became clear that the Galactic Olympics had become something far more significant than a mere sporting event. It had become a crucible for the next stage of cosmic evolution. Sarlox, his earlier schemes forgotten, approached Dr. Chen with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "What have you done?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Dr. Chen, looking as surprised as anyone, managed a shaky smile. "I think we just jump-started the next phase of galactic civilization." As news of the transformation spread, the earlier competition was forgotten. The question of who would colonize a new planet seemed trivial in the face of the cosmic revelation they had all just experienced. The Olympus station, now a shining beacon of interspecies unity, became the focal point for a new age of cooperation and exploration. And humanity, far from being relegated to the sidelines of galactic affairs, found itself at the very heart of this new cosmic order. Their unique blend of adaptability, creativity, and willingness to push boundaries had unlocked potential that would reshape the very fabric of the universe. As the transformed athletes and spectators began to explore their new abilities and the change station, one thing became clear: the game had changed, and the true competition, the challenge of forging a unified galactic civilization, was only just beginning. The Galactic Olympics had ended, but a new and far more exciting chapter in cosmic history was just being written, and humanity, against all odds, was holding the pen. The cosmic renaissance, Earth's quantum legacy. The aftermath of the Galactic Olympics sent shockwaves across the universe, reverberating through the cosmic web of civilizations. Earth, once a backwater planet on the fringes of galactic society, suddenly found itself at the epicenter of a new era, the quantum age. As dawn broke over the transformed Olympus station, now dubbed Nexus Prime by its inhabitants, the true scope Zahalox, once the orchestrator of humanity's intended downfall, found himself humbled and fascinated by Earth's transformation. He became a frequent visitor to the planet, marveling at how quickly humans adapted to and improved upon alien concepts. "I once thought to conquer your world," he confessed to Dr. Chen during one such visit. "Now I find myself in awe of it. You've taken the universe we knew and expanded it beyond our wildest dreams." Dr. Chen smiled, her gaze drifting to the quantum fluctuations now visible in Earth's atmosphere, a constant reminder of their new place in the cosmos. "We're just getting started," she replied. "The quantum age is opening doors we never knew existed. The real question is, are we ready for what's on the other side?" As if in answer, a new anomaly appeared in Earth's orbit. A massive fractal structure that seemed to exist in multiple realities at once. From it, a message beamed across the planet. "Greetings, quantum pioneers. Your recent awakening has not gone unnoticed. We are the transcendent collective, guardians of the omniversal balance. Your species has taken its first steps into a larger reality. Now you face your greatest challenge yet. Are you ready to help shape the destiny of not just one universe, but all of them?" As the message faded, a mixture of excitement and trepidation swept across Earth. Humanity stood on the brink of an adventure beyond imagination, that accidental victory in the Galactic Olympics having catapulted them into a role they never could have foreseen. The age of human exceptionalism had dawned, but it was clear that the true test was yet to come. As Earth prepared to answer the call of the transcendent collective, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. And so, the next chapter of humanity's cosmic journey began, not as underdogs or unlikely victors, but as architects of a new omniversal order. The games were over, but the real adventure was just beginning.